edition of Strength Addicts Live, powered by IML. Make your mark with IronMagLabs.com today. Tonight's guest is the one and only Mr. Gregg Valentino, the rambling freak himself. And I have to admit, I'm about an hour and a half late. And I really apologize for that. I work downtown as an attorney, and I'm just like running around everywhere. But I just let Gregg know, and I can't thank him enough for doing this. I want to say what's up to Sunday's Frozen Yogurt. That's pretty cool. Would-be IFBB Pro, Dynamic Fitness, the Nurse Kim. Nurse Kim, how you been doing? Nurse Kim, always very, very active on social media, always over at Muscle Sport Mag, and she's got her own business, huge following. And we've got to do an Instagram Live soon, Nurse Kim, so we can catch up because whenever we do those are always a blast. But just to kind of give you guys a little bit of background, you know, Gregg Valentino, I mean, his name precedes him. Everybody knows him, the Rambling Freak, and he was on Bigger, Stronger, Faster, always had to call him with muscular development. But also, when we did Iron Mag TV about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe more, I mean, time really flies, he had various shows. He was always on Monday night. And, you know, he also had an MD show at the time, and so did I, and they were both powered by Iron Mag Labs. So, you know, we had a lot of cool stuff going on with Iron Mag TV. We had Jerry Brainham. We had the late, great Rick Drazen. We had Big Frank, John Haynoski. We had, you know, Jessica Padilla, Teresa Ivanchik. I mean, we had some pretty big people. We had, you know, Beast Coast Live, which we loved, with Chris Agoon Griffin and Big Mike Cox. We had Andrea LeClaire. We had Comerica Muscle with Superhero Strong. We had a lot of great shows. Most Famous Mini-Me, what's going on, my man? How are you? We're waiting for Gregg to jump on here, but I will wait all night if need be because Gregg has waited for me well over an hour and a half. So, again, you know, it was a pretty cool thing that we had there for a little bit. And it lasted about, I think, just shy of a year. And at the time, I think that, you know, the industry was really, really in a good spot. And who would have known that in just another, I don't know, a few handful of years after that, there would be no longer an MD. I mean, I still can't believe it because to me, muscular development, you know, and Flex Magazine, Muscle Mag, and even Planet Muscle to a certain extent were, I mean, just staples. I mean, to me, I could not go a month without buying those publications. I'm good, man. I'm good. It was good seeing you the other night for PJ's Live. And, yeah, I think a live soon would be great, Nurse Kim. I think that would be fantastic. But I got to say, though, that the more that social media got underway, the less and less I was buying print publications. Because, you know, to me, buying MD, buying Flex, it just lost its appeal when I could see everything on social media right before my very eyes. And so buying a magazine that had, you know, pictures and news that was like, you know, oh, here you are, that was like, you know, like 2 weeks late or something, was not really of an interest. I am an hour and a half late, but I do appreciate Gregg taking the time and having that patience with me because it's been a long time since we've been able to do something like this. And I still keep hope alive of there being another opportunity where we can have like a video channel and that. So I sent him an invite. I'll do that again. I might have uninvited him by accident. Kim Henson, what's going on? Looking forward to seeing you on stage again soon. Kristen's Fit, what's going on? So until Gregg comes on, I'll just keep talking because I'm real good at that. But yeah, so the magazines, and then towards the end, Flex Magazine, the pictures, they look kind of grainy, and they started using cheaper and cheaper paper. Fit with Franco, what's going on? So it just kind of lost it for me. And I'll tell you something, towards the very end, I would say like maybe the last 4 or 5 editions, I couldn't find MD anywhere. I mean, it wasn't at the airport, wasn't at the supermarket. Barnes and Noble stopped carrying it. I mean, so it says Gregg Valentino is unable to join. So maybe, Gregg, what I would do is I would leave and then come back in. And once you come back in, just hit that request to go live button. But yeah, so again, I think magazines, you know, Joe does magazines still, Muscle Sport Mag, and I'm subscribed to the magazine, and it's a fantastic magazine. But I think that that's kind of like a novelty at this point. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people just do not buy magazines, and you know, Barnes and Noble here locally, they shrunk. I mean, the Barnes and Noble by my house, the paddock shops, they said, "Oh, we're just changing to a different store. It's going to be just as big." Bullshit! It wasn't just as big. It's like half the size of it, and the magazine aisle that used to be 6 aisles is down to two. So PK, don't know what that is. Let me try to bring Greg back on now. Now again, tech difficulties on Instagram, they go without saying. I mean, this happens all the freaking time. But yeah, so I mean, I would love to see if we could maybe do one of these again. Oh, there he is.
Oh, okay. Hey,
What's
what's going on?
up? How are you?
All right. You know what it is? I was on a computer.
Hmm.
I have a computer I was trying to get on. That's why it wouldn't let me on. So I did it on the phone.
I got you. You look the same as like 6 years ago. That's crazy.
I know, right? Well, I'm 64, so I'm a lot older.
You don't age at all. You don't age at all. You look identical.
Thank you.
So I've seen you. Yeah, I mean, I've seen you everywhere. You haven't skipped a beat. So you do. You're still with Muscle Sport Mag, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I'm still with Muscle Sport Mag. I do the print mag stuff.
Okay, and then RX Muscle also.
RX Muscle. Yep. And
And then, but
Generation Iron.
Generation Iron. But you also have. I've seen you do like another show, right, where it's you and another gentleman.
Oh, yes, with Joe Zapata.
Hmm.
Yes, Joe Zapata and the Zapata Brand podcast. Yes, I do with Joe.
Very cool. And then just recently, I think that what went viral was you guys in Alabama with Lee Priest and Uncle Mr. G and all those guys. What were you guys doing? Were you covering a show or something?
Yeah, what it was there's a new pro show out in Alabama. They're going to have it again next June. It's an IFBB Pro and an NPC show. The IFBB Pro is actually an Olympia qualifier. So you guys or girls watching this, man, next year you want to get it. You want to qualify for the Olympia. If you're already a pro, jump in that show because it's a good way to get get an Olympia invite. But we were all there, Dave, myself, John Romano, Mr. G, my boy Jimmy the Bull, who I've been friends with for a long time, Jimmy Paletti, and of course Lee Priest, who's a good friend of mine too. So, Jimmy and Lee been over my house here in New York. So, we're all wacky. We have a lot of fun.
Very cool. Yeah, and I mean, since we last talked, it's been like a few years, like since we actually did something like this. And MD is gone. What do you think about that?
Oh man, it kills me because I just love having a magazine in your hands. I don't know, it is Sunday's news on Monday though. The social media and computers have killed that. You know what I mean? Have killed the magazine industry. I'm old school though. I always liked having a magazine in my hand and just if I look at the old magazines, look at old Muscle and Fitnesses, old Flex, and then even old MD, Strength and Health, all those old magazines. I used to like Muscle Digest. Those things, if I look at them today, those guys are nothing compared to the guys today, but I still get more of that feeling, that drive. It's almost like if you watch Pumping Iron all over again. You could watch like Nick Walker, who's 10 times the size of anybody in Pumping Iron, right? You could watch him training, be jacked, and all this other stuff. But then there's something about watching Pumping Iron that you get like that old feeling, you know what I mean? For me anyway, you see Arnold standing there shaking his bicep when he's doing those curls and then curling and looking in the mirror. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm older, but it does something for me. So I do miss the old school stuff. I miss the magazines, but, we knew that this was coming because Steve Blackman, said a long time ago, I'm still close with Steve. I'm not into the Dave and John, they bash him, but I won't be part of that. Steve took me out of the gutter. I was a piece of shit until he, took me for the magazine. And, I miss Steve Blackman. I miss those days, but he knew it was coming because he had said a long time ago, digital and, now with all the videos and the social media, he knew that was, the end of the magazine era was coming, I mean,
Yeah.
Christian, there's young girls today. Everybody's getting a pro card. You remember when we first started watching bodybuilding and stuff? You had to win either the Mr. USA overall or your class in the nationals, right? I think the other one was what's the Canadian American thing there? The North
The North
American. Yeah,
Americans, yeah.
right. That's the only way to get a pro card. Today they're giving out pro cards to people who's not even they're placing second and stuff, in certain they're giving that shit away like pretty soon it'd be like giving out Met tickets on the back of the milk cartons in the 1970s,
Right.
But
And the reason I was grinning earlier, I mean, no, but I concur with everything you said about Steve. I mean, I mean, one of the nicest guys ever. Now you're very gracious because I know that when you left, it's old news, but when you left the magazine, the whole unemployment thing, that was kind of like, but you were able to like totally put that in the past. You guys reconnected. He really cares about you. He's Steve. Do you ever see, I mean, maybe now because he's out of the fold, but do you ever see Steve and Dave?
I, I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I can. I just didn't know how to phrase that question. I
Uh,
mean,
you,
because there's
you know,
just so much.
it's tough, Christian. It's more. Dave would, but I don't know if Steve would, because there
Mm,
was a lot of stuff behind the scenes, that went on that was hurtful, to Steve and his family, and there's certain things I just think that's just it's like a divorce. Two people once loved each other, couldn't wait to see each other. They could, and now they just don't like each other. But I do want to say you played a big part in me getting back with MD. You're the one who went to Blackman and got me back in there after I had left. So
mm.
I have a warm spot for you always. It's nothing could ever be said. Even though we left Iron Mag, Iron Mag Labs and all that stuff. I didn't care. See, I still have a warm spot. You did a good. You always did good by me. You're a good man in my book.
Yeah, I
So you helped me get
appreciate that.
back with Steve Blackman. People don't know that, but you do. You did. You helped me get back with Steve Blackman, and he took me back. Remember, the magazine was already dying, so he put me on the website, and we were doing all that
Yeah.
stuff. But you worked that deal out, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that, and you know, I hope Dave thinks of me well. I mean, because I think Dave always thought I was kind of an ingrate because I mean, he really, he got me started writing articles and let me write for his show, and so without Dave, I wouldn't be here. So I appreciate that very much. But I tell you, I have a lot of regrets though too when we did the Iron Mag TV thing because I've been able to reconnect with Joe thanks to Kim Fit Ass Haynes, and I always liked Dave. I mean, what am I saying? I still like Dave, but I always liked Joe a lot. And he's a really good guy, and he's the last of the Mohicans. Really, we used to say MD was, but really Joe is the last. There's no other
Oh
magazine.
yeah, he's hardcore. I mean, he keeps it hardcore. I still write the Ramblin' Freak, but I write, which we call it now, talking smack, because the Ramblin' Freak is MD's property.
Mm.
Steve Blackman owns that name, but I still do the same exact article. Joe's magazine is banging. I love it. John Romano even writes for Joe. At Muscle Sport Mag. Before he died, Boston Lloyd was writing for the magazine. So and I got to tell you, Christian, I never heard, I'm not blowing smoke up nobody's ass, but I never heard Dave ever say anything about you in a negative way. So I don't think that, I would tell you if I would say,
Yeah,
well, he's a little bit, but I've never heard him
yeah.
say anything bad. You know what I'm saying? So,
Without without Dave Palumbo, I wouldn't have a pot to piss in bodybuilding. So I mean, I certainly don't compete. So I mean, I owe him a lot. But mentioned Boston Lloyd. I mean, so many young people are just I don't want to say dropping dead, but they're dropping dead. I mean, and it's pretty mind
all
boggling.
this sport's been losing people like it's unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? And, I don't care what everybody says. The drugs have to play a part. You guys don't understand. Even SARMs and SERMs and all these things, especially pills, they go through. They mess with your liver. And anytime you take anabolics, you bring up your. I'm pro steroid, bro. I love. If I
Steroids are
wasn't
as American as American as apple
steroids are
pie.
as American as apple pie. And if
Yeah.
I wasn't 64 years old, I'd be blasting myself right now. But, yeah, there comes a time we have to worry about that. But, steroids raise blood pressure. Okay. And today these guys are doing boatloads, like a lot of different kind of chemicals and chemicals for every process of the body. So what happens is that starts affecting your kidneys. Blood pressure is the number one kidney killer, even in whether you're taking steroids or in old people. If you don't take care of your diabetes or whatever it is, blood pressure kills your kidneys, and then liver, the whole bit. It's rough.
Yeah, and in fact, somebody had mentioned a couple of people. People talk shit all the time. A couple of people had messaged me some months ago and said, "Do you know Greg Valentino's on insulin?" I said, "He's diabetic. Before he was diabetic, he
Yeah,
never touched insulin.
yeah,
So you're not using it to get big. You're using it because you're diabetic."
yeah. They're so silly. It's silly because I'm not using it. I never took insulin in my life until recently because I'm borderline type 1. And I only take insulin when my blood sugar goes up to like over like 165, 170. And that's because the hospital, when I had the gallbladder thing, they made, they were the ones who got me to start that, because my I would eat no carbs at all, nothing, like just like, fats and protein, and I was hitting like 200, in my blood, and it was like, what the hell? But sometimes it's the amount of food. Okay, and even whey protein and all that stuff, if you're a diabetic or pre-diabetic, that brings up blood sugar. And in my family, my father was type 2 diabetic and became type 1 insulin dependent, and I'm right there. Now, don't take insulin every day, not even close. But if I do hit over 165, to 170, then I do take insulin, So it's a sketchy word, but that's because it's my health. It has nothing to do with bodybuilding. If that was the case, I'd be jacked. I'm right now. I gained back about 10 pounds. So I'm like 184, 185. I went all the way down to 174. With the gallbladder, but that was from 195, almost 200 pounds. So, and I'm not going to go back up. I want to stay, smaller.
And how?
Because I'm too old.
Yeah. How was Alabama? Were you good with your insulin in Alabama and all that?
No, my insulin was insane in Alabama. But that's because, I'm down there with Lee Priest and we're sitting there eating like, bacon and friggin' eggs and, but lots of, you're at a buffet and, like that's like a bodybuilder's dream. It's, and it's free. And if it's free for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you go there and I'm just like wolfing down like all that food. And then you go up and I test my blood and I'm like, holy shit, so it was high.
I was laughing. Was there a story about you taking a dump and some guy's shoes or something?
Yeah.
What was that? What was that?
That was a long time ago. That was at if anybody knows, in Lake George, New York. There's a Holiday Inn there, and I was with my kids. This is a long time ago, but I was with my kids, and we just had a buffet breakfast. And there's a lobby right there where the buffet is, and my daughter was really young at the time, and my son was probably about 10, 11 years old. He's 30. He's 34 now. But so all of a sudden, a shit bubble hit me, and I knew, like, for me, when I gotta go, I gotta go. You know what I mean? It's not one of those deals where I can hold it. I have a friend who got locked up on a Thursday, right? And he had to wait to see the judge on Monday. He said he had to take a shit when he got locked up, and he held it till Monday when he saw the judge and got out on bail. I'm like, dude, I don't know how you did that. I can't hold it for 5 minutes. If I gotta go, there's like a time, like a 10, like a countdown, 10, 9, 8, and I'm by 8 or 7, I'm sweating like a pig, and by 2, it's already too late. If my pants ain't down, I'm in trouble. But anyway, I ran into the bathroom, and there's a bathroom stall, and like when you're sitting in a stall and you kind of look down and you see the guy in the stall like next to you, see feet. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's a guy sitting in the stall next to me. And when I went to shit, I guess I was still pulling my pants down, and like it was like a tsunami, like a lava, and I missed the toilet and I shit all over the guy's feet in the next stall. You know what I mean? It splat everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, he was an old man. And he punched the side of the stall. And I was in like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't even want to move. The shit was all over the floor, and it was all over his feet. And he took off his shoe. He kicked them off and he threw them in the garbage. And he ran out of the bathroom. And he punched in my stall like this. He ran out of the bathroom. And when I got up, and the job ain't over till the paperwork's done, if you know what I mean. So I ran. I did the little paperwork real fast, and I tried to wipe up anything on the floor, but it wasn't like working. So I ran out of there. My son goes to me, Dad, some guy came out in his socks and was like freaking out. And I said, yeah, because I just shit all over his feet. Let's get out of here. You know what I mean? So, that was a long time ago. If you people know, it's the Holiday Inn in Lake George, New York. That's where it was.
That's crazy. I remember that story. I don't know why I remember that story. And then the other story, I was laughing when you were talking about Steve, but it had nothing to do with Steve. I love you, Steve. I actually spoke to Steve when he announced all that. And a little side story, somebody that we both know wanted to buy it. And so I called Steve and I made an offer, and he was like, no, that's way too low. I don't know what he wants to sell it for. I mean, my guess is he probably wants to sell it for, if I had to guess, Greg, probably like $4, $5, $6 million. And I don't know who's going to pay that.
I don't know if he wants to sell it at all, because that's not. that's like his baby. I think he wants to put it to rest. I think he wants MD to be his legacy. Like, let's everybody remember MD the way it was. If
Right.
somebody else took it over and started running it, you know what I'm saying? It might not be, he wants the memory to be the way it was. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure because even Dave Palumbo wanted to buy it, and
Oh, really?
he inquired, and all those guys. There's a lot of people that inquired about it, and he just didn't want to sell it. I don't blame him. I think he said, look, it's the end of an era. What are you going to do to make it any better? Let people remember MD the way I had it. And I believe that that's the way it is.
Yeah, and he's probably got so much money that, I mean, he probably still has Twin Lab money and all sorts. He's got his own supplement company. He doesn't need it, so
Yeah.
maybe he can afford to just let it,
It wasn't about the money. We used to talk to him all the time. He didn't do it for the money. He did it for the love of the game. He loved that magazine like it was his child. You know what I'm saying? Like he did not need the money. He was born here into a family that had scuttle. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He made a lot of money, with his, with Twin Lab and all that stuff. He did it because he loved that magazine. He really did it. His passion. You go to dinner with the guy, and he'd still be talking about the magazine. Like he really loved it.
And I've heard about that. I think for Ron, I think Ron maybe saw the tail end of that, but Steve used to be very generous when things were good, right?
Oh, let me just tell you, he took care of me. I was there 15 years, man, and he for 15 years, he yoked me right out of the gutter. He did so good by me. Yeah, he was very generous. To be honest with you, he paid a lot of people more than they should have gotten at that magazine. He
Hmm.
paid a lot of money. I didn't have to do anything. I just worked for him, and I was it. And I made a good living, and I was able to take care of my children with that and everything. So yeah, he was very generous. He's a great guy. I don't care nobody can say a bad word about Steve Blackman to me. Our little glitch that we had was more of a misunderstanding, and somebody else got involved and gave him wrong advice, and he apologized to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I love him anyway. I'm not going to go out there and bash the guy.
So
I don't like when Dave and John do it. I tell them, dude, get over that shit. First of all, I think they got fired in 2009. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I mean, it's a little,
So
it's getting old.
no, definitely. And then today I saw that you had wished Kevin Levrone, the Maryland Muscle Machine, a happy birthday. You tagged me. I appreciate that very much. And I love Kevin. I know you do as well. I did want to ask you about somebody that passed. Not to get super depressing, but somebody that was very important to me, but extremely important to you is Jerry Ward.
Yes.
What was that like for you? Because I mean, I know you and him were really, really
Oh,
tight.
yes. Even when he passed away, his wife even said she remembers, the phone calls and me and him talking. We never talked about bodybuilding. We talked about everything but bodybuilding. And it was, yeah, I'm a spiritual guy. Like, I don't know if you know, but I wear like rosary beads and stuff, like there's my,
Hmm.
and, I actually pray for Jerry, when I say my prayers. He's one of the people I pray for. He was a fucking great guy. I love Jerry like you wouldn't believe. From the moment we met, we just hit it off, and we would talk about everything. He was a very smart guy. He had a lot of interests and stuff, and yeah, it was devastating because he was one of the good guys. Being the fact that he was so smart with health and all that stuff, and his wife, God bless her. My girlfriend still talks to her almost every day. My girlfriend texts her anyway, and Erin, and she's a heart. Like she's in an operating room, and she's a nurse that works for like heart surgeons and stuff, and they put hearts in bodies and everything.
Hmm.
And of all things, for Jerry to pass away from was heart failure. You know what I mean? That came out of nowhere. Never did I think that had nothing to do with steroids or any of that shit. That's not one of the infamous kidney or this or that. He had a heart condition from like his father had it. You know what I mean? It was something that was hereditary in him. You know,
Hmm. Yeah,
but
it was so sad. I mean, it just came out of nowhere. I mean, he has his supplement company. I mean, he's one of these guys that had a tremendous following on YouTube, all social media. I mean, just a really, really talented guy.
he was a very smart guy, and like I said, he was into everything. He told me some, a lot of cool stuff. Me and him talked about from like ghosts and crazy shit. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I love all his stories, and Erin, she even said, I remember the thing is one of the things she's always going to remember is the way me and him would talk on the phone and say, talk about crazy stuff and never about bodybuilding,
Yeah.
That's like
Now,
Lee Priest. Lee Priest and I, when we're together, we never talk about bodybuilding. We never say, hey, what do you think of the Olympia? Or, hey, do you take test pro for trend? We don't never talk about that shit.
yeah.
I'm close with Lee Priest. And if you ask me, what's his cycle? I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? We never talked about it. We
Yeah.
talk about everything else but.
Yeah, Lee Priest is also, I mean, the super, super talented guy, very, very popular. I think so. You and Lee Priest, and also you and Jimmy the Bull. I mean, I think you guys, I mean, that whole crew, you seem very gelled. I think very tight, right?
Yes, we are. I mean, I know Jimmy since 1991 is when I first met Jimmy the Bull. You know what I mean? So, we go way back. We all know each other for a long, 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 long time, and we're all the same. Well, Lee's not our age. Lee's young, but, I'm, 64. Jimmy's 64, going to turn 65. John Romano and I are only a month apart. You know what I mean? He's going to be 60. He's turning 64. So it's, we're all like the same age. George Schmalley, who's Mr. G, him too, he's 66, you know? But we all, we're all like lunatics. We still train hard. We still, eat good, and we take that shit, we take our training seriously, but we don't take life seriously. You
Yeah.
got to have fun in life, and you can't be uptight and if I let all the haters or shit that was said about me on the internet bother me, I would have jumped off a bridge a long time ago. You know what
For
I'm
sure,
saying?
for
Like,
sure.
you
And
can't,
I like to ask weird questions, but
ask
how do you
away.
think, yeah, how do you think Derek Anthony would do in that group of guys? I think he'd fit right in, right?
Oh yeah, well I was very close with Derek. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did like a eulogy in a magazine for him and everything, and his mother thanked me. Yeah, Derek was one of us. He was. Look, Derek was a little crazy. I'm the one that got him in with the Blog Talk Radio.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because he wanted to come with MD, and him and Robbie, they had an issue, and there was little things, and then Dave, was his friend, and Dave kind of wanted him over at RX, and then they would fight, and but they were close, him and Dave. He was one of us. Him and I, another thing, we'd never talk about bodybuilding. Him and I, he was a big Yankee fan. So me and him talked a lot about Yankees. And stuff. He actually made me, the son of a bitch actually made me put this whole marriage thing about him and some girl getting married. And then when it went to print, the magazine was just coming out. And he's like, oh, we broke up. So try to get that out of him. I'm like, I can't. It's too late. We
Yeah,
took
that's how
that shit a
magazines
few months.
work. You can't. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a whole thing. Oh, Derek Anthony's getting married, and it shows a picture of him and his wife to be, and she was a pretty girl and everything. She was some fitness girl, but they broke up.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
don't I don't think yeah, I don't think those guys would have known each other very well, but Boston Lloyd and Derek Anthony were two insane guys that were so much fun to watch.
you know what it is. Their insanity kind of cost them too, because just like Boston Lloyd, with the kidney issues and all that stuff, Derek would still be, fucking around with the babanya, steroids and shit. You know what I mean? He still didn't care. He just, I mean, if your kidneys are going, and it's like somebody smoking. Your lung, you got half a lung left. You've had a lung removed and shit, and you're still over there smoking cigarettes or whatever. It's like you're asking for trouble.
But the
But
funny, yeah, but the funny thing is, you take someone like Ronnie Coleman, for example, and they've asked him this many times, like, if you could go back in time, would you do it all over again? He's like, yeah, but I would have lifted more. You know what I mean? Like, there's no like sense that he would have done anything differently because he lived his best life. He loved every
well,
second of it.
that's the thing. They went out their own way. Ronnie Coleman, for you guys watching this that don't know Ronnie personally, I know Ronnie very well. We used to go to dinner. He used to date a good friend of mine. And, we used to go out to dinner. We used to go to Carlo Filippone's place in Jersey, his Italian restaurant. And I would eat with him and everything. We'd have the blast. And he is a good guy. There's not a bad bone in Ronnie Coleman. You know Ronnie. There's not a bad bone in that guy's body. He's a good man. He's a really good. He is one of the best guys in the sport as far as, he's a good personality. He's not going to tell anybody, he doesn't get stupid with people. He's such a good guy. I
Yeah.
love Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah, in fact, I think Ronnie Coleman and Jay, I don't know if you know Jay.
Yeah,
I
I
know you
know
know him,
Jay.
but these two guys in particular, their fan base just grows and grows and grows. I mean, they're more popular than the reigning Mr. Olympias.
Jay's a good guy too. Jay has a personality to him. You know what I mean? Like Kevin Levrone. I'm good friends. I know Kevin before he was a pro bodybuilder. I love Kevin. They have like almost like a humor to them that, like, Jay and Kevin are similar in humor. They're great guys. Those guys today, the guys today, I feel like a lot more uptight, and they have, because of social media, I feel like they have their head up their own ass a little bit too much, but not all,
Yeah.
but some of the guys. But those guys, Jay Cutler's a great guy. I mean, Kevin is unbelievable.
You
I'm a
had
fan biased.
you had Lee Haney at your house once eating
Yes.
Italian food, right?
Oh yeah, Lee Haney sat right here, right next to where I am, right there.
And that's another guy, heart of gold, right? I
Great
mean,
guy, phenomenal guy. He was at my house for 3 days in the 80s and in 1987 when he was in the midst of winning the Olympics, and he used to call his wife all the time, and he would talk with her, Shirley, and his kids were young. So what I'm saying is a lot of these guys, I've had other bodybuilders who came here and all they did was like, where's the girls? You know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to say names because then they get fucking pissed. But
yeah.
there's a bunch that I've had here, and they all fucking get, they were more worried about, like, they're away from the wife. They can't wait to, see if you can hook them up with somebody and shit so they can fuck around. But
And you knew some of the big ones. I mean, like some of the real like Matarazzo guys like
oh
that,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I had Monterazzo in the car. Him and I had an argument one time over the Howard
Something.
Stern show. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah, we he was talking about this, this skit with Howard Stern where Howard Stern wore a rubber wig and he made believe he was like in a car accident in a wheelchair and he was talking like this and and I said, yeah, that's funny, but I said I think it's funnier when he has like the lesbian dial-a-date with a girl, like not dial-a-date, the lesbian dating game,
Yeah.
I was telling him, oh, I remember this like real bull type chick, picked was she was the one picked
Hmm.
by a girl who was like a lipstick lesbian, and there was two other lipstick lesbians, and when when the two came out, the girl was like, oh wow, she's hot, another girl comes out, oh wow, she's hot, but you picked number 3 and here she is, and out comes this bull girl and she's like, oh shit,
But
and then what's
you
that?
remember that really tall blonde I was hitting on at the Arnold, right? Or no?
I don't remember. I do vaguely, when you say it, I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she was born a woman or not, but I was pretty drunk, so it was interesting. It was, but you're the one that used to say back in New York at what was a Sound Factory or something like that, that
Yes.
they were almost you couldn't tell,
No.
right? I mean, sometimes.
Yeah, all the girl. If when you're from New York and you're in that club environment, you're used to that.
Yeah.
So a lot of girls that look like strippers. You know what happens because of today's society, right? And you're watching all these liberals on and you see these. I'm transgender, and they got a fucking beard, and mustache, and blue hair. That's not transgender, bro. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
That's it. There's a difference. I
Yeah.
can show you girls that I know that are trans, and you would never, ever, 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 ever know.
Yeah.
Look at Sasha Angada, who was once was on the cover of Muscle and Fitness, and even hung out with a very famous bodybuilder. I can't say his name. Sean Bray. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? And you would not. Nobody knew until it came out. One of the photographers is the one who said, she's trans, right? And I'm just saying, you know what I'm talking about, right? Sasha Angada, you remember her?
Of course, of course.
But
I
there's
was just
other,
laughing at you. Yeah.
but I mean, like, so these people, they don't know. Like, if you grow up in Cornstalk, USA, and the only time you've ever seen a tranny is some, like, call me ma'am, or
Right.
like Bruce Jenner, who at like 70 years old decides, I think I'm a woman. You know
No,
what I
but
mean?
I remember this blonde. She was so beautiful, but I kept looking down. I was like, God damn, she has big hands. But I just didn't want to think about that. But we just talked. That was all. I remember what you did, though. We won't say his name, but with Arnold about drying his hands.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah, 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 yeah.
That was hilarious.
That was
That was
great.
hilarious.
I
Yeah.
was with Arnold, and we were fucking talking at the bathroom,
Yeah.
and he was washing his hands, and I said, I
Somebody.
shook his hand, right, and I was fucking with him, and then I said, yeah, I just had that hand was on my dick, and he's like, oh, you bastard. So we were washing hands, and we were just chitty chatting, and then the guy that we're talking about
Yeah. Yeah.
was behind him, and he goes, I'm with him. I'm with Gregg Valentino. He kept tapping Arnold's back like this. And I told Arnold, I said, he was just in the stall, he has shit on his hands and he's wiping it on your back. And Arnold turns around like this. And he's like, and I said, let's get it out. The guy you remember who it was. And he got really pissed
Yeah.
at me.
Really
You
mad.
fucking asshole. Why'd you say that? It's Arnold, he's only joking. And then Arnold goes to me, let's go, let's get out of here. So we left him there. We walked
Yeah.
out of the bathroom, and then Patrick was coming, his son, who I know.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
goes, I said, where's Pat? He goes, here's Patrick right here. So Patrick came, and I got my girlfriend who was with us. You remember my
Yeah.
girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
And
course.
I
It's
had
amazing.
Patrick kiss my girlfriend because it happened to be her birthday. It was
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
girlfriend's
I
birthday.
remember she freaked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was awesome. That was
But that
awesome.
guy was really pissed.
Really pissed. Really, really pissed. Yeah.
Because he
Um,
said, oh, wait, he said when we were in the bathroom, he said, me and Arnold would just stand there talking for a minute. And then he
yeah.
goes, oh, can I get a picture taken with you? After all that shit,
Right.
And that's when Arnold said, yeah, sure, sure. And
Yeah.
then when he was getting his camera, Arnold goes to me, let's get out of here. He left him there. That's what really got him pissed, too.
Yeah. No, for sure. And that's what people don't realize, that you and Arnold are
Yeah,
friends. I mean, everybody
yeah. Oh,
says,
I know.
everybody says Arnold's my friend. He doesn't know him from a hole in the wall. He actually knows you.
Yes.
And you're not really you're some fanboy either, because I think on Bigger, Stronger, Faster, one of these movies, you even said, Arnold should, you know,
Oh, he gave me a little bit of help for
yeah,
that. Like he grabbed like when we saw each other the next time, after I did that movie, he grabbed my hand. He goes, "You like this,"
yeah,
and I said, "Yo, come on, I love you, bro, but like I don't like his politics. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I love Arnold, but I don't like his. But I got to tell you something. I got to tell you, it was very close with Leon Brown, who was one of Arnold's best
hmm,
friends, and. When Leon died, Arnold even called his family. Arnold put out a statement. Arnold never forgot his friends. I got to tell you that. In Hollywood, you step on a few fingers, fuck over a few. Like I said in the movie, but with his close friends, he kept them close. He loved Franco Colombo, who was a dick. You know what I mean? He loved Leon, and Leon's got some of the greatest Arnold stories. I mean, I could take a zillion Arnold stories. I met him in the gym in 1981, and I ran up to him in 1981. I was 21 years old, and I ran up to him, and I was like, "Yo, Arnold," and I'm saying all the shit to him, and he goes, "Don't get so emotional."
But
But
what's crazy though are your pictures when you're natural, though,
yeah.
because people think that you've been taken forever, and you looked amazing naturally,
Well,
amazing.
I first of all, like really good genetics. Like Dave Palumbo introduced me as one of the best natural bodybuilders he ever seen. Like when we were in Alabama, and that's because I trained 23 years natural before I ever took steroids. And a part of me, like, died the minute I took steroids. Like it was like I was like, oh man, because I prided myself. People thought I was on shit, and I'm like, nope. And those pictures you see of me, I was like, I competed. I was like 154, 152. I wasn't. It's just that I was like Frank Zane. I created the illusion that I was a lot bigger than I really was. Because
Yeah.
I have small. Dude, if you see the pictures of me, even in Alabama. My pants, they're 30-inch waist. Those are 30. I showed them
Well,
on
I
the
thought it
day.
was insane when you pulled your pants down and you showed your legs, because you don't even, you hadn't really, you actually, I don't know when the last time you competed is. You didn't really compete much, right? Mostly in the.
No, I competed with everybody knows. I competed in the 80s, and I competed in the AAU. And
Hmm.
then in 1986, this new well, actually it was 84, when a new organization started called the NPC.
Right.
Remember Tim Belknap? I think it was the last one, maybe the last one, who won the AAU Mr. America. Then it split. Then they had the NPC came in, and they had the Nationals, and that was Lee Haney, I think, won the very first NPC Nationals. I
Yeah.
think. I'm pretty sure that's the way it went. But I know I used to compete in the AAU, and then I met Bob Bonham, and he was like making all this money from just running shows. And I started running shows for the NPC, and I started making a lot of money. I was there before Steve Weinberg. As a matter of fact, the northern states and Atlantic states were my show first. I still got some of the posters here
Hmm.
for the NPC. I was under
Well,
Carl Campagna. He was the district chairman there. He was the first district chairman. And then in like 1991 or 92, I had a big argument with him. So I split off, and I started helping Bob run shows. But then that's when Steve Weinberger came in and took over the New York, as the New York chairman of the
and I had no
NPC.
idea, because I don't do NPC anymore. I used to be like, when we used to do the Iron Mag, I was like, NPC cheerleader, but I'm not doing that anymore. But I had no idea, like, until I talked to you, and I talked to Bob Moore, may rest in peace. But Bob and Steve were like oil and vinegar. I mean, I had no idea. But and Bob was no pushover. Bob was a
Oh,
badass in his day.
Bob
So
was Bob was crazy. Bob and Steve got along for the longest time, but then Bob was very close with Wayne D'Amelia. And then when Wayne broke off from the IFBB and started his own thing, Bob, supported Wayne. And that's when
Yeah.
Steve and Bob, and then there was a little bit of a riff with the gyms, because Strong and Shapely is a legendary gym, in the East Coast. And so is
Bev's.
Bev's gym. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
Yeah.
it was like that. Which one's better?
Right.
Which one had more pros? Which one had more celebrities?
Yeah.
Both gyms are phenomenal
Yeah.
gyms,
And I love Steve. I have no issue with Steve. I
Oh,
have issues with other people, but
oh,
I
I
love
love
Steve.
Steve.
Yeah, he's amazing. And when you were talking about the AAU, someone else that we lost was Mighty Mike Quinn, who another lunatic. I loved him. May he rest in peace. But I remember him telling me he actually had to turn pro twice because he won the AAU universe, I think. But then when the switch, he had to like go pro again or something like that. So it was
Yup.
confusing. But at one point, the AAU was like the top dog, though.
Well, you know
So
what it is? Everybody doesn't realize this, but if you look at Arnold's history, Arnold won the NABBA, won all NABBA shows. It was NABBA Mr. World, NABBA Mr. Universe, okay? And then was brought over to compete in the IFBB. He's really the guy that the IFB built their backbone on. The IFBB was around already, but Arnold in Europe, the NABBA was huge,
yeah,
and what they wanted to do was they didn't want NABBA athletes coming over here. They wanted you to build up the NPC, which is like the minor leagues for the IFBB. If they didn't want guys going over, into Europe and other countries winning NABBA shows, and then coming back over here and competing as a pro. That's why they don't like to take NABBA guys. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So you had to pay your dues. And just like my friend Alessandro Save, I mean, the guy's won like 70 shows. He's won Mr. Europe. He won Mr. Italy first. He won Mr. Europe. He won Mr. World. He won Mr. Universe. All those shows. He comes over here. They're like, nope, you got to go to an NPC. So he's got to compete in a local show.
right.
You know what I mean? A local show first, a national qualifier. It's like, here's a guy, who deserves to, have, to be, in the IFBB Pro. But they did that purposely. They want you to come through the NPC. They want you, it's just like like if you played like a Japanese baseball, they take a few Japanese players over here, but they don't want to take the whole thing because they want you to go to the minor league. You have to, the NPC is the minor leagues for the IFBB, and that's the way they wanted it, and that's how they groomed it.
Definitely. And just a couple more. And do you see yourself? Have you patched up with Ferrigno or still no?
No,
No.
you know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate Lou. It's that I was friends with his dad and his brother Andy. I used to buy equipment off them, okay, from way back before I even went to California in like 1979. I still have Frigno equipment in my house here,
Mm-hmm.
and his cousin used to work there too. So I forgot his cousin's name. You're talking about off McDonald Avenue over there. You're talking about my God in Brooklyn. You're talking Jesus, Mary and Joseph over 40 years, like 45 years ago, more 46 years ago. You know what I mean? I bought stuff, and so I knew them. I got to know them over the years. Matt Ferrigno, no problem with him. Andy Ferrigno, great guy. And then when the shit hit the fan, first of all, Lou Ferrigno used to tell Steve Blackman, Valentino cheapens the magazine because I curse. I'll say my girlfriend threw a fart in my face or something fucked up like that, and then, people laugh, the shit stories, and Lou Ferrigno was like, I don't like that kind of stuff. I want to hear about bodybuilding. So that's what he told Steve Blackman. Steve Blackman told me this. And I don't care. So whatever. If you don't like me, get in line. Nobody likes me. You know what I mean? My girlfriend talks shit about me when we have sex. She tells me I'm a loser, I'm fucked up, just so she knows how much that turns me on. But the thing is, so Andy came to me because he said, can you do me a favor? Can you put out this article? Because Lou, when his father died, sued the family business, sued the Ferrigno business because of them. He said they were capitalizing on his fame, because it was Ferrigno Barbell. And that's how that started, So I hooked up. I put it in the magazines. If you remember, it was a big thing, and it caused a big ripple. And Lou went insane. And then I hooked Andy up because I myself have been in the National Enquirer, all that big stupid arm shit and all that. So I hooked Andy up, Andy Frigno, Lou's brother. I hooked him up with the National Enquirer, and they ran a big story on it. So then, it caused this rift between Lou and I. And growing up, I always liked him because, he's an Italian boy and I knew his family. I'm Italian from New York, the whole blah, 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 that Guinea bullshit. But, I don't care. I don't wish bad on the guy, but, I'm certainly not on his Christmas list. I can tell you that,
Definitely. And I guess the last question, I mean, this is not a bodybuilding question, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are on just like how divided the country is right now. I cannot believe that literally a couple of days ago, President Trump was almost assassinated. Like literally, they say that he always looks forward when he speaks. He never ever uses props or none of that shit. And this one time he looks over. I mean, if he had not looked over, he would not be here with us today. So I think it's divine intervention almost. I think like something.
100%. It's
Yeah.
funny you say that because if you look at things, right, all the stuff with court and this and that and the other thing. Now, a couple weeks ago, the Supreme Court said a president should not be liable for there should be presidential immunity, which, follow what I'm going to say to you, which took, so now they couldn't sentence him on July 11th. So they postponed it till September because they got to figure out, do we still even have a case with this? And that whole New York case was a joke. Then nobody even knows what he was really charged with. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
that's neither here nor there. So if you think about this, this is why I say it's God intervening. So now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Supreme Court rules this, and that case gets pushed off. They were pissed because they really want to stick him in jail. All right? Then you find out now that the shooting thing happens. All of a sudden, he's gaining more and more people. And then on Monday, you find out now that the Jack Smith trial has been they put the kibosh to that trial, too, with the documents. You don't go after, they say, listen, Joe Biden's had documents from when he's a senator in his house. He keeps them in his garage.
Yeah.
But, but here's the thing, okay? Today, yesterday, they came out with this whole thing. Listen to what I'm going to tell you. They're saying, well, now we're getting intel that, that Iran has a hit out on Trump, and they want to send assassins to to whack him. Okay. People are saying, oh, it's because he killed Constant Soleimani, and he killed Constant Soleimani almost 6 years ago. Why now? Why now? And listen to what I'm going to say to you. Why President Trump? He's not president. If you wanted to kill somebody or whack somebody in America, why wouldn't you go for I would never wish
No.
this on
I know
anybody.
I know what you're saying.
Why would you go why wouldn't you go after Joe Biden? He's the president. You know why? Because they're afraid Trump wins. Because when Trump was president, Iran was broke because gas over here hit a low at 182. You understand? And now they're rich. And they're afraid if Trump comes back in, okay, if Trump gets elected, which it looks like it's a good chance for that to happen, I don't count on anything until the guy's sworn in.
I'm this way, but it's sort of independent. I don't like. But the thing is, I think we'll both agree, if COVID never would have happened, Biden would never have won. I mean, because
Right.
all these mail-in votes and bullshit and stuff, and but now there's nothing like that. Like you said, there's a very good chance.
Biden is what he's done to this country. You can't tell me. See, you cannot tell me. I know, I have liberal views too. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care, what your skin color is. I don't care if you're a woman or trans. I don't give two shits about that. Well, it doesn't affect my life. You know what I mean? Okay, so I have some liberal views, but I consider myself conservative with some liberal views.
Sure.
But here's the thing. This guy has destroyed this country. I mean, groceries, a small bag of groceries that I used to pay $40 for now is costing me $120. Gas, same thing. And people say, oh, that's not Joe Biden's fault. Yes, it is. Once you fuck with energy, once you start messing with oil and gas, and the gas prices go up, trucking goes up, so therefore everything else goes up. I mean, Dollar Tree was $1 when Donald Trump was president. McDonald's had... I used to get what do you call them? McDoubles. You know, McDoubles hamburger.
Yeah.
McDoubles. It's two meat patties, right? I got it without the cheese.
Yeah.
but I would get McDoubles for $1. There's no more dollar
There's
menu
no more
at
dollar menu.
McDonald's.
It's like $2 menu and more actually.
A liter of Diet Coke was like 99 cents, and if you bought like Walmart brand, it was 62
Right.
cents. Now
Yeah,
it's
yeah, no,
$3.50 and shit. That's on
yeah,
sale.
and yeah, and people say it's inflation. Yeah, inflation, a nickel, a dime. Yeah, but not a
Yeah.
dollar. You know, it's just like everything's
Oh
like,
yeah, it's more than inflation, and that
yeah,
happens when you mess with
yeah,
energy. Every time we have to, you fuck around with your oil price, like that. Look, we're back. This is like the 1970s. We're back to OPEC. We're over there, begging Saudi
yeah.
Arabia for oil when we're sitting on oil. You know what I'm saying?
But I think I'm not saying it's not his fault, but I think that whoever is running the show wants him there because I don't think he's
Oh
running.
yeah,
I don't think he knows
yeah.
what
He's a
Sadie's
puppet.
in. You know what I mean? I don't think he knows what Sadie's in half the
Well,
time. You know what I mean? So
Christian, if you remember the election, he was about to bow out. He was losing the DNC. But the problem is that Bernie Sanders was
yeah,
going to win. And
yeah,
Bernie Sanders really didn't want to be president. He likes calling the shots. He really likes to be a sideline guy. So he made a deal. Listen, I'll give you my followers and my backing, but you got to kowtow to the left. This is a guy who called black people super predators. Even
right,
Kamala Harris said, "You're a serial molester. I believe the Me Too women, and you have done things to women." She accused him of that, and then she also said about the segregation. You're a segregationist. When you were pushing those segregation laws, I was one of those little girls that was segregated on a different bus. So don't think, so, and then when she said that, he held his head down. He couldn't even come back to that, right? There's videos of him using the N word and all this stuff. There's no videos of Trump. They would put that shit all over the place if they could find one. So what I'm saying is that all that shit, he never would have. Joe Biden was losing and bad. You know what I mean? But the only way was he had to make a pact with the devil, meaning Bernie Sanders, made the deal. You want my followers? You want us to back you? You want us to get you in there? We will get you in there, but you got to take my people. You have to,
right.
that the far left, and that's what
And I
happened.
feel bad you don't have your root beer, so you haven't drank anything. But with
No,
those
I
New
got it
York,
right here.
okay, cool. But those New York juries too. I mean, those trials were a complete joke. I mean, there wasn't even one holdout jury. It was unanimous, unanimous. So that shows you that they were just
Well,
bullshit. I mean, you know.
they picked the right people. Here's the other thing too. The judge said you don't even have to find him guilty of anything. You just whatever it is. You could say he's guilty of walking across the street and picking his ass. Then he's guilty. You understand?
Right.
Like you're a lawyer, so you've never heard these charges before. They were charging him with stuff that was like bullshit. Like, it's bookkeeping
Yeah.
things, and none of it. They didn't even. They made a bad case. There's people worth nobody lost money. Who was the crime
Right.
against? Who's the victim? There was no victim. You
And
know
the
what I'm
thing
saying?
is, I'm not even a Trump supporter, but they're making it so difficult for him to win that it's making me consider voting for him just because like I've never seen such a concerted effort to stop somebody from getting elected. I
Well,
mean, it
Christian,
just
if they can do that to him, they can do it to you.
right.
Do you understand look what they did with the January 6th? Now you're finding out more and more shit. Dude, that was Antifa that was wearing Trump hats and stuff going in. Dude, there's old ladies at 70 something years old. There was no guns. They didn't confiscate guns. Nobody went in there shooting bullets. Nobody did anything. Walking around with Trump flags around them or waving the American flag. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? They did this to scare you. They
Right.
did this to make you
They
go,
scare a lot.
I won't go against them. I won't fuck with the Democrat. Dude, I'm a huge Trump fan, but I have Trump banners here, but I would never put one outside because I'm afraid there's
Yeah.
psychos, where I live. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think? And I know that well, I don't. You know somebody in military intelligence, but we don't have to go there. But what do you think about this 20-year-old punk like somehow getting on this rooftop and nobody from the Secret Service seeing him? I mean, it sounds really. I mean,
First of
it sounds really
all,
bizarre.
first of all, there is a video that's out,
Yeah.
right? They say there's no social media, that he has no social media, which is a 20-year-old with no social media.
Hmm.
But I saw a video where he said, I hate Republicans. I hate Donald Trump. And you got the wrong guy like that. That's what he says. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know what it means about the wrong guy because he is the right guy. But There's no social media footprint. They saw him. There's so many wrong things. Do you know that the head of the Secret Service is a personal friend of Joe Biden's wife? Google it. It's a personal friend of Joe Biden's wife. There's too much wrong with this. I think that they left the door open saying, just turn your head the other way if you see anything. It's just too much. How do you not get on that roof? Dude, if that was Joe Biden, they put almost like a mile perimeter. You're in the middle, and there's like a mile perimeter around you that nobody could get into. They'd fly drones over the head. They do it, and you're watching these guys look at him on the roof for a half hour. They seen the guy thrown on the roof. He's got a rifle for a half hour, yet they weren't given, stand down, bullshit. I don't understand. This is too much. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and for my opinion, I know RFK Jr. doesn't have a prayer of winning, but throw him some Secret Service. I with all the money we're sending to Ukraine and Israel and all that, all the candidates should, because I heard that when you're a former president, you get like much less than when you're a president, but that just seems so wrong to me.
Listen, I don't care. RFK is in the mix.
Right.
He's in the mix. He deserves Secret Service protection. Anybody else? This is only the Biden administration. They're evil. The shit that they're pulling. They're making up rules. And look at today. They want to go now. They want to pack the Supreme Court. They don't want to. Until the Republicans get in, and say, okay, now we're in. You want us to, like once we run everything, then all of a sudden, oh no. Packing the Supreme Court's bad.
Right.
They talk out the corner of their mouth. JFK Jr., RFK Jr., they showed a thing of him talking. It's a whole, you can go on Twitter, you'll see it. There was a conversation with him and Trump just the other day. His son, RFK Jr., put it on. And RFK Jr. made him take it off. But they're saying that Trump might pull him into his White House.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
He's really, really smart. And the only thing they've got on him is that he didn't agree with the vaccine. But besides that, but they just don't like him. They can't.
Well, that's
him.
because he goes against everything. You got to remember, these people been in, all of a sudden Joe Biden wants term limits for the Supreme Court, right? I want term limits. But then you got people like, Lindsey Graham and the wacko there, the head of the fucking Republican, the Senator, what the hell's his name there?
Mitch McConnell?
Yeah, Mitch McConnell. That's a wacko. What does he do? He does nothing. But these guys have been there for 40, 50 years. Mitch McConnell's married to a Chinese, somebody from, China that was involved with the Chinese government. It's all sketchy shit. And these guys have a tit job. They make a lot of money, even though, maybe they get paid $180,000 a year, even $200,000 a year, but they got houses worth, $50 million here. This one's, where are you getting all that money?
Right.
Because they got to.
And somebody in the chat was saying conspiracy theory. And listen, I'm not saying I believe in them.
I'm not a conspiracy guy.
But the thing is though, because it's like, conspiracy theories are frowned upon. But then I don't believe everything the media says either, because that they might be lying to us. So for all, I just like to look at everything,
But I believe what I see though. When you see this guy crawling on the roof, and you see a bunch of people going, "Hey, officer, look up there," and you see the guys there watching him. You're like, dude. That's like. That's not AI. That's legit, because even the Democrats are saying. But it's not. I'm not a conspiracy guy. I don't believe that George Bush blew up the Twin Towers or any. What about building number 7? Well, if my house blew up right here, if my house exploded right here, the guy who lives next door to me, half his house would probably get blown too. That's what happens. Oh no, somebody put bombs. You know how many people would be involved in blowing up the Twin Towers? One of them would come forward and say, my brother was involved in that shit. It's all, I don't believe any of that shit. So I'm not a conspiracy guy, but this shit, there's something wrong with.
Yeah, and I'm not either. But the other thing that's really weird, and I'll end on this. Where you want.
You can talk to me as long as you want. I don't have to go anywhere. It's up to you. Whatever you want.
Right before this happened, it was like not even every day, almost like every hour, a congressman was asking Joe Biden to step down because of that debate where he was falling asleep and he didn't know what the hell was going on. And then when this assassination attempt happened, it's like now he's safe. Like nobody's asking for him to step down, go fuck himself, nothing. So it's just weird how.
Well, the thing is, they're changing. At first, they wouldn't even say Trump was shot. They're saying first of all, it was a BB gun. Second of all, there's people saying, oh, no, he pulled like a wrestling move. He went on the ground like this, had a little thing, clipped, pinched his ear and made it bleed and shit,
Yeah.
There was all these conspiracy things,
Yeah.
And I don't, look, the left is trying everything they can. I talked to Roger Stone. I do podcasts and shit and Roger Stone, we've talked a bunch of times. And he told me a long time ago, oh, they're going to try to kill him. This is Roger Stone saying this shit to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you what I think, what their plan was, but it got fucked up. Follow me on this. He was supposed to get sentenced on July 11th, right, for the New York thing. That judge was all ready to put him in jail. And Mayor Adams came out and said, we're ready. If he has to go to Rikers Island, we're prepared for him. That's what he said. So right there, I'm thinking, oh, God, okay. So here's what they would do. Follow me on this. He would have to go in there, and there would have to be a Secret Service unit with him, right? Because that's the rule. They would actually be stuck going in jail. They would, take shifts. They're not going to be stuck there. It'd be like just like a correction officer. I'm here for 8 hours. I go home. New guy comes and takes. I think what they were going to do was this is just my assumption. Okay, but I think that they were going to get some wacko, some piece of shit that's in there, because there's a lot of piece of shit in there. Okay, they were going to sneak in a gun, tell the guy, listen, we're going to take care of you, we're going to get you out of here, all this shit. What we want you to do is we can't rely on a shank, because the motherfucker might live. So let's shoot him, but don't shoot him just once. Shoot him a bunch of times up in the cabezal, right? So as they were going to make it so right at the right moment, there's not going to be a fucking, all of a sudden there's no CO there, just like Jeffrey Epstein. The camera happened to be not working, okay? And the guy was going to whack him. Secret Service was going to kill him. That's why they wanted to do a couple shots in the head. So give him time, at least one will kill him. And, by the time, the Secret Service acts like this. So all of a sudden, the Secret Service would kill the guy. So you're never going to find out. Like Lee Harvey Oswald, and Jack Ruby. Jack Ruby shot Oswald, so Oswald could never say they couldn't get out. Oh, this is who hired me. They told me, where'd you get the gun? We'll never know.
And that's just the thing. Like everybody's saying, this 20-year-old was a bum, didn't have any. That's exactly the kind of person that would be used for some, because Oswald wasn't winning any great life contests.
Was not too smart of a guy. He just was a good shot. You know what I mean? That's all it was. He was a good shot. But he wasn't a smart guy. So somebody else had to figure out, look, we're going to get you in this warehouse. You're going to be up there in this window, because this window right here, you're going to have a clear shot. I mean, that's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the kind of hit you're talking about in prison made me think of Whitey Bulger. Whitey Bulger, they got him in one of those blind spots, and nobody knew anything, and they dismembered him pretty much. They didn't find out till like 12 hours later. So there are, they could have done this easily.
But in this case, the Secret Service could be a tool. I'm not saying they're in on it. I'm not saying that they're in on it. But their job is to protect the president. If somebody goes after you, got to, kill them. So what they did was, they would innocently they would kill the assassin. But that's what that's what the left or whoever puts this guy up to it. That's what they want, is for the assassin to be killed, so that you can never ever know where this is coming from. How did this kid? Let me ask you a question. How did this kid know that there was not going to be a Secret Service agent on that roof?
Right.
It was on every roof but that roof. How did he know? Oh, you know what's funny? They're not going to have one on this one roof. The roof that's over here, they're not going to have one. How did he know that? Nobody knew that shit. How did you know that there was not going to be any Secret Service? There's nobody. There'd be nobody. Even those people that were standing around seeing him on the roof, how were they able to stand out there when normally they would never allow that? You understand?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have thrown a rock and hit Trump in the head. So it makes no sense. How did that kid know if all the building tops, this one particular building top, there's not going to be anybody on there? How did he know that?
Right.
How did he plan this shit out? He had a van with explosives in it, and he had a fucking incendiary device next to his fucking phone. They show it.
Yeah.
So what he was probably going to do was hit the president, blow up the van, create chaos, and try to fucking finagle his way out of there.
Yeah. No, definitely.
There's no cameras. The only camera that caught him was somebody's cell phone camera. There's too much. Bro.
Yeah.
There's too much. It's not right.
Yeah. So I don't know. And I think Lee's in here also, and Lee had talked about, and it's a very good point that he makes about the local police are inside the building he was on top of. I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, like the protocol between police and Secret Service and all of that, it's very bizarre. And they say, I read an article today that said that this person had been to the building twice before, because the other thing is, how would he know to get roof access? Because most buildings, that shit's chained up
But he's
tighter
been
than
to it.
Fort Knox.
But listen to what you just said. He's
Yeah.
been to it before.
Yeah.
How did he know that there was not going to be any Secret Service on that? But usually, Secret Service is on every rooftop.
Right.
If you could even see Trump, a sniper can hit you from like 1,000 yards away.
Yeah.
Even deer hunters will tell you that shit. Okay, usually you wouldn't be able to get within a mile of that place. Every rooftop would have somebody. There'd be cameras up there. There'd be drones flying around. How did that kid go to that rooftop
Right.
and know that there was not going to be anybody on that? It was 130 yards, dude. There's guys who can throw football that far. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, because initially I thought I had read 400 yards. It was 400 feet. So I mean,
400 feet.
That's not. And then the other thing is, how did he even get a rifle into the perimeter? I mean, let alone on the roof. How did he even? It's just so weird.
Listen,
it's so weird.
Put it this way. Aaron Judge hits home runs that are 450 feet, 480 feet. Think about this. That's like home plate to center field in Yankee Stadium. That's how far he was. Right?
Yeah.
Think about that. There's guys who could throw a baseball from center field into home plate. That's how far away a sniper was.
Right.
And how did he know that nobody was going to be on that building? How did he know that no Secret Service agents, there were not going to be any? Where was the cameras?
Right.
Usually there's cameras everywhere. I go to fucking Walmart. If I pick my nose, I got to go, oh shit, they're looking at me. You know what I mean? There's cameras everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Now, this is a very insensitive, kind of comment I'm going to make, but this is a video game terminology. I heard this at the tire store the other day, but that first shot was his shot. The others were what they call spray and pray, because, I mean, but even that first shot, I don't know. Until Trump does this, the Secret Service doesn't come on top of him. So even after the shots were ringing, he was still standing up. It's when he went like this.
Right.
I mean, we're talking seconds here, but shit, that's their job. Seconds is their job. You look at like Hinckley, the guy that used to talk to his television that tried to take out Reagan.
John
Warner,
they
were all
Hinckley.
Yeah, they were all over Reagan like that. But here, I mean, this was, I don't know. This was,
the thing is, Hinckley came out of nowhere. He basically walked around a corner like that. But this guy was crawling on that roof, and they saw him supposedly for 30 minutes. They were keeping an eye on him. What are you keeping an eye on him for?
Yeah.
What are you keeping an eye on him for? What are you talking about? Why is he on a roof? Sunbathing?
Yeah.
You knew he was on that roof?
Yeah.
What the fuck? And how did he know to go on that roof, a roof that's as far as center field in Yankee Stadium to home plate? How did he know that there was going to, dude, that's fucking close.
Yeah, no, and the other thing too, I commend President Trump. That's the other thing. All this former president shit. Once you're a president, you're a president. Nobody says former president. So President Trump. But I commend President Trump because after all this happened, he still commended the Secret Service and law enforcement. But shit, if it was me with the money he has, I'd tell the Secret Service, hey, y'all, thank you, get lost, and I'll hire my own security. But he really believes in everything, and so but shit, I wouldn't feel safe. I wouldn't feel safe going to the 7-Eleven with those guys. But now I think there's so much attention that they have to protect him. I mean, whoever. But I just hope that this lunatic was the only guy. But there's just so many weird shit.
I seriously don't. How did he know?
Yeah.
That the other buildings had people, had Secret Service. How did he know?
Yeah.
How the fuck did that building is so close? Why there was nobody guarding that building? And then when they saw him, nobody got him off that fucking rooftop.
Yeah. And so this isn't conspiracy theory. We're just asking very obvious questions. Very obvious questions.
Conspiracy theory when there was hundreds of people. Do you know how many videos, personal fucking cell phone videos there are of the guy? Look at him, look, he's on the roof. I mean, and you know what's funny? What about the Secret Service, the chicks? Over there, one chick can't even put her gun in her holster.
That's
doesn't
embarrassing.
Have to do it.
Yeah.
She tries the other side where there's no holster. I mean, they're chicks that are like my height. He's 6'4". I'm 5'6". He's 6'4". You know what I mean? It doesn't work, bro.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But listen, I hope. Look, I don't know. I hope that there's not any shenanigans this time around. I mean, listen, if Biden stays in the election, Trump's going to win. I mean, Biden cannot beat Trump. It just cannot do it. And now the DNC, because they're so scared of all these Congress people that are stepping up, urging him to stand aside, they're going to do a virtual convention. They don't even want to have a convention because they know the party's going to split into pieces. They don't want Biden, but somebody wants Biden to be president so they can rule through him. Is basically what I think.
Listen, you know what? Listen, first of all, two things. One, if they were smart, the Democrats, if they were smart, look, nobody likes Kamala Harris.
No, I don't
but,
even know. I've heard her talk twice.
But there's more Democrats in this world than there are Republicans. That this country's very democratic. Okay, now if they were smart, they would pull Joe Biden out. They would stick her in. Okay, I would hate that. I don't want this. So don't think I'm advocating for this. But they would stick her in, have her act presidential, because the hatred for Trump is great. And you'll get a lot more Democrats that maybe swing back, especially play up the whole, woman, she's a woman of color, the whole bit. I don't think she's good, but I don't trust these people. Listen, with all this shit that's going on, Christian, all this stuff that's going on, Trump's only ahead by a few points. That's it.
Yeah.
All this shit with the debate, the Biden's chagad. You see him walking around shaking the air. All the crazy shit he's saying, calling his Vice President Trump, and calling, Zelensky, who's evil, bro. That's, Zelensky.
He called Zelensky Putin the other day. I mean, he's just all.
Yeah, but
and this is the guy that's got the codes to the nuclear. So I mean,
right, but Christian, after all of that, and everybody seeing how fucked up he is, he's only like 3 points down from Trump.
That's insane.
Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why if you stuck the Kamala Harris in there. Listen, Ken Langone yesterday changed his mind, okay? Finally. But Ken Langone is one of the biggest Republican donors, okay? He was backing Nikki Haley, and he's a billionaire, okay? He's the one who started Home Depot and all that shit, right? So they had Ken Langone was on Jesse Waters a couple weeks ago, and Jesse said, well, now that Nikki Haley, who's your girl, Ken, now that she pulled out and she said, I want my people to all go for Trump, right? My money backers and everything. What are you going to do? Are you going to donate to the Republican Party? And Ken Langone says, I can't. I just can't do it. And Jesse Waters says, why not? He said, I can't stand that son of a bitch. He's a son of a bitch. I can't stand him. He's just a son of a bitch. He said, I'd rather write my wife's name in and vote for her than give him a dime. So now Jesse Waters says to him, but Ken, you're a long-time Republican, a long-time, big, one of the biggest conservative donors there is. What are you going to do? You're going to give that money to Biden? He said, no, just won't donate then. And Jesse said, so you're telling me the hatred for Trump is greater than the love of America. You'd rather see America sink. That's like you saying, Christian, you say, you know what's funny? I don't know. I don't like my house. I can't stand the bathroom. I got to do that. You know what? I don't feel like putting money into it. I'm just going to light my house on fire, burn down your own house because you're not happy with the tile in your bathroom or something,
Right.
Finally, Nikki Haley talked to him yesterday. He said, you know what? Maybe I'll change my mind after seeing Trump get shot and stick his hand up. He said, that takes a lot of balls. Nikki told me, but that's after pressure. But do you know how many people out there say, I'll vote for a dead body before I would vote for Donald Trump?
Oh, I know a lot of people like that. And to go back to your point just a second ago of love of country, you'd be surprised how many elected officials actually love themselves more than they love the country. And Joe Biden's a perfect example of that. Joe Biden said last election he was a transitionary president. But now that he's tasted power, he doesn't want to let it go. Even though he doesn't know what year it is, he doesn't want to let it go.
But listen to me. Follow me on this. All you people, follow what I'm trying to explain to you, okay? The way people think about Biden. Do you ever read a story or see a story on the news where a father is in the middle of a bitter divorce with his wife, and it's an ugly divorce, all right? And she has custody of the kids, and he gets visitation, and he takes the kids out one day and kills them both just because he wants to get back at her and see her in pain. You ever see one of those stories? A father kills his kids to get back at the mother? You understand that? That's what these people do. They don't care. I'd rather see America sink. And that's the way it is. It's like a father that fucking says, well, you know what? I know how much my ex-wife loves her kids. You know what? You want to see pain? I'm going to show you pain. You want my money? You're going to take my money? You can have my money. Now I'm going to take the kids. And they kill a kid. That happens. Every once in a while, you see stories like that. And you say, what kind of fucking father? What the kind of person are you to do that? Well, listen to me. I don't give a fuck if you're liberal, not liberal, what your fucking thing is. You're paying the same price I am for food. No more dollar menu at McDonald's. No more Dollar Tree being a dollar. Do you understand what I'm saying? No, or no more gas. You know that's dollar some. It was $1.209 here, and then when Biden got elected, it jumped up to $2.35 in anticipation, and then when he got sworn in, it jumped up again. It's you can't do this, and you can't tell me you're not affected by this.
Right.
Everybody's affected by it, but they don't care. I don't care. I'll pay more for gas. I'll pay more for food. I'll lose my house. I'll lose my car, but I'm not voting for Donald Trump. That's stupid.
And the problem is that now the stakes are getting so much higher because, if they don't even have it already, Iran is like this close to getting a nuke. They probably already have it. And North Korea, the guys have, except for Dennis Rodman, nobody can talk to that guy. He's absolutely out of his mind. And the thing is, while Trump was president, we didn't have this Ukraine bullshit. We didn't have this Israel bullshit. So how do you get around the fact that, countries around the world, this is just fact, do not respect Biden the same way that they respect Trump. But now you're going to have these nuclear players involved. The stakes are just so much higher now.
Why do you think that they want to kill all of a sudden 6 years later? Oh, it's because he killed Constant Soleimani. Then why didn't they kill him 2 years ago, a year ago? Because they said, holy shit, this guy's going to win the election. He's going to come back. He's going to put the kibosh. He's going to open up the Keystone Pipeline. He's going to put the kibosh to, Nord Stream and all this other shit. And now we're going to be fucked. We're going to lose a lot of money. We're going to go broke again.
There's a congressman. I love him. He's a Republican. Maybe I don't know, but his name is I think it's Hawley or something like that. Yeah, and he had the CEO of Boeing. He just ripped him to a new one. But actually he ripped him. I like him. But Cruz, remember Ted Cruz? Mm-hmm. Ted Cruz asked he asked the Secretary of State. I don't know his name right now. He's like
you're talking about the
right now. Yeah, I don't know his name, but yeah, he asked him. He said to him, he said, "Is there an embargo on Iran right now?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, how is it that when Trump left office, they were selling, I think, 300,000 barrels of oil, right? And now they're selling over 2 million. What kind of an embargo is that?" Which is a joke. So Iran is basically doing whatever the hell they want to do. As the last 4 years, they're going to get a nuke. You saw that what they did to Israel just recently. They shot like 300 missiles at them and drones and shit. I mean, the thing is Biden is just not respected around the world. And I love what Trump said to Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un said, I've got this red button here, and if I press blah, blah, and Trump's like, I've got a red button here, and you won't exist. And the guy had never been spoken to like that before.
Bigger than yours, he told him.
Yeah. Nobody talks to him like that. Biden's not going to talk to him like that, But that's how you have to talk to some of these people.
Look what Trump did to the fucking guy over there in the Middle East, from Iran, where he said, here's a picture of your family. Here's a picture of your house.
Afghanistan, he did that. Yeah, the Taliban.
Watch what happens. Watch what happens if one American fucking dies. Watch what happens.
But the president isn't supposed to talk like that. But maybe he got results. We didn't have any people of ours die after he did that.
Listen, only an idiot knows. If you're gonna, you gotta take the fucking women and children out first. Then you take out all the fucking people who are, like work with America in Afghanistan. I'm talking about, right? Then you take the equipment and then the soldiers. You cannot fucking. He left. He took the soldiers out, left the equipment. You see the Taliban are walking around with fucking American uniforms. They got the fucking night goggles, and we're a joke.
But I got to tell you, that exit out of Afghanistan was humiliating. I mean, that was, you had people like literally jumping on planes that were moving. It was like Saigon. When we left Saigon, people hanging from the rope ladders on the helicopter. I mean, that was just that. I mean, all those years we were in Afghanistan, to leave like that is humiliating.
Listen, I mean, they had one of their top soccer players who was a star on the Afghanistan soccer team, was one of the people who tried to get on that wing and fell when it went up in the air. They dropped you know, they're just desperate to get the fuck out of there because the
And
Taliban is just, I mean, they're stoning people of it. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
like the days of Jesus Christ over there. They're walking around, with bathrobes on and and sandals and shit, with AK, whatever. And,
yeah,
the people over there, they just cut a kid's head off for listening to Western music, kids
that's
13,
crazy.
15. And they brought him out in front of the town square. They wanted all the young people to see this shit because it's corrupting them. But that's why there's also a revolt in Iran. The people in Iran want Trump back.
I mean, some of those characters are just out of their mind, but it just, the exit from Afghanistan, I think, makes, probably people think twice about helping us, because is that how we repay people that help us? We just leave them there? You know what I mean?
Would you, if you were some interpreter for another country and you knew, holy shit, I'm in an area where ISIS is and they're going to pull out all the soldiers and leave me here. You're fucking done. Your family's done. You're done. And you ain't going to just die. You're not even going to get shot mercy-wise. You're going to get your head cut off. They're going to put you in a cage, maybe
Right.
gas on you and burn you. They do sick shit.
Well, you remember that British guy, that Jihadi John guy, who was like, on video? I mean, it's some sick shit. You know what I mean? I mean, you'd be lucky to get shot in the head.
That's what I'm saying. You pray for the bullet. You don't want to,
Yeah.
And they keep you in a cage first, like a dog, and it looked like a dog's cage. We can't even move. It's being like in a phone booth, but it's a cage. And you sit there and you got to wait for your own death. You're better off like trying to run and have them shoot you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, this has been a very uplifting last few minutes here. We've been talking about a very cheerful conversation, but I hate to keep you here so long, and we got to do this again sometime.
But again, Christian, we'll have a part 2, part 3, whatever you want to do.
Please, if you see Dave, tell him I say thank you for giving me a shot and everything. I really think he thinks I'm an ingrate, but I wouldn't have a pot to piss in without him.
No, I can talk to him for you. I'm very close with Dave, and he listens to me.
And I'm so happy to see Lee here. I know how much Lee loves me. So
I didn't know Lee's here. I can't see. So
yes, I love Lee. He's great. He's great. The thing is that you can't be in this industry if you're sensitive. You can't do it. You just cannot do it. It's impossible. And that's the one thing I try to tell these people that want to be influencers. Say, listen, if you cannot, I get called dookie, bald, whatever, fat. It's fine. I don't care as long as I'm being talked about. I love you too. But the thing is, you cannot. And people like really have thin skin. Now this one guy, I'm going to start talking again. So Sam Sulik, he's pretty big. I don't know if you know him, but yeah. But anyways, Greg, thank you so much for doing this. I feel terrible keeping you on this long, but
fine. I could go longer, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you had me on. It's not. People don't understand. I know they watch this body for bodybuilding and everything, and then we go into politics. But you understand, this is the most important time. If you love your freedom, there's people who are in jail for writing a meme against Hillary Clinton. There's a guy who's in jail for a meme. Listen. Freedom of speech, it's not here anymore. You got to be afraid to say something today. If you say the wrong thing against them, forget about it. The jails of January 6 people, nobody had a gun. Nobody went in there with a gun. Nobody went in there with a knife. Nobody did anything. They walked around like this. Anyway.
Well, they're trying to make it seem like they wanted to lynch Mike Pence and a whole bunch of crap, which is which is insane, But the thing is, people believe that shit, Like if you. That's the thing. That's the power of the media too. People believe, there's conspiracy theories on one side, which we know is a little strange, but hey, you can still look at it. But then just eating what the media gives you, that's also not the right way to go, because they'll have you believe those people were out to kill half of Washington.
But that's why I like talking about it, because the people need to be informed. They can't be you can't stick your head in the sand. This is the wrong time.
Yeah.
Even people who weren't I was never into politics, like what, now I'm fucking watching everything, reading everything, because this is going to affect all of us in a big way, way. Even law enforcement, if you had a problem at your house and stuff and you call cops, sometimes it depends on the area you live in. You know what I mean? In New York City, you can't even go down there. The savages rule the street. There's mobs of 13-year-olds. Even my
that word is so Joe Pietaro, savages. That's hilarious. But yeah, I like it though. Yeah,
it's true. savages. You go down there, there's like fucking 20, 13-year-olds, and they'll be kicking you, stomping on your head like this, you know, you didn't do anything wrong. They just pick a guy in the crowd, and they just decide to
But
do
that's
that
the
to him. And
thing too, like, you know, like guys like Joe, I mean, God bless them, but people are just like powder puffs now. You can't
no,
say anything because
I
your
can't.
feelings, you know, it's like bullshit. You cannot say anything. So I mean, I'm glad that you know, you express yourself, you know, I think it's so important to get out there and vote, you know, even if you're not into politics, because that's the worst thing you do is stay home. I mean, you know, it's the last thing you could
Oh,
do.
absolutely.
But
Can't defund police and shit. That's the stupidest fucking thing. Look, there's some cops out there that are pricks.
yeah,
That's it's in every walk of life.
yeah,
There's pricks. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But the most of them are good, and when you need them, you know what I'm saying. But
yeah,
if there diversity and bullshit going on, a lot of times people call cops today, you know, they arrive either too late or whatever, and it's not their fault. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
this shit going on. You got these mayors that people they want to put Trump in jail for fucking, we don't even know what the real charge was. They said it's a bookkeeping error, right? You want to put him in a jail for bookkeeping, but then look at that black woman that was on last night, you know, talking about her son being murdered. 3 people stabbed him. He was stabbed like 14 times or whatever it was, you know what I'm saying? And he died. He was a fucking war veteran, a hero. And Alvin Bragg dropped the charges, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, you're going to drop the charges because, well, you know, they don't have, you know, these poor people of color, they don't have a chance. And like, that's not true. Ask Ben Carson, you know, who came from a single mother. Ask, you know,
oh
you know
no,
what?
oh, now Ben Carson gets so much shit, you know,
You
because you know, because that's the other. Well, I probably don't want to talk about that because I might get canceled. But Ben Carson's a genius. I mean, you know, he did the heart surgery on the infants. I mean,
neuro,
he's a shit,
neuro,
but he got so much. Oh, up here, but he got
neuro,
so much. Huh?
neurosurgeon when they were connected by the brain, like this, the heads were,
Oh, it was the brain,
yeah,
not the heart. The brain.
yeah,
He's a
neuro.
genius, though. But they gave him. But the second he got behind Trump, it was like certain people just completely caught
Oh,
him.
yeah,
Like he was like no longer, you know. So no, but that's the thing. The fanaticism, really, honestly, I could do without. You know, I could really do without that. But there's just, like I said, there's just such a hatred for Trump, and calling him a racist and all this is bullshit because he's got all these rappers are in his corner. You know, but like I said, there's just like a very very, and what they're doing is they're making people that maybe didn't support him think about supporting him just because.
Chris, they're calling him a Nazi.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, his pride and joy, his sons make a joke about it. His pride and joy is his daughter Ivanka, right? So he's
Right.
another Hitler. He's a Nazi, they say.
Yeah.
Well, Ivanka is an Orthodox Jew, and her children, the boys wear yarmulkes. Her husband, you know, Joel, what the fuck's his name? Wears a yarmulke, okay?
Right.
So Trump is the first Jew-loving Nazi because he loves his daughter and he loves her children.
Yeah.
They go in Air Force One with him wearing yarmulkes.
Yeah.
Come on,
It's
man.
crazy. Yeah. But like I said, you can't believe everything
Oh,
the
you
media says.
keep saying, oh, he's going to put people in concentration camp. Why didn't he do it the first time?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
It's,
yeah. So hopefully, hopefully this will, you know, the division at least will tone down a little bit. We'll see what
right.
happens. You know, got the mirror bodybuilding in here. You know, Dan Dillon in the house. He's great.
Oh, shit.
Uh,
The mayor of bodybuilding. He's in ex-NYPD.
yeah.
We should have him as the mayor of New York.
Definitely, definitely. And that's the thing, you know, people, I tell you, a lot of people have a hatred for police, but guess what? The very first time they're in harm's way, they call the police.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't, you know, and, you know, there's a few bad apples everywhere, you know, but I just, you know, this whole defund the police. I mean, to me, I think that's absolutely ridiculously stupid. I mean, you know, police, firefighters, EMTs, you don't touch that. You don't, in some cities, they pink slip them because like Detroit, you know, again, a city run by Democrats, but a city that goes bankrupt. I mean, I've never heard of such a thing. Firing police officers, you don't have enough money to pay them. I mean, that's
Right.
you know, but
But you
you know,
have money to put in like transgender, whatever the fuck it is. You know, they'll put it into that diversity in school. Listen, if
yeah,
you want, listen, let me just tell you something. Again, you know I'm pro transgender. I don't care.
I don't either, but they should not.
But listen,
Go
you
ahead.
can't do that to a child. If
Right.
your true transgender grows into that, and if you're going to say, well, follow what I'm going to say here. If you're going to say little Joey wants to be a girl, he's 5 years old, let's cut off his penis. Then what about little Mary that wants to be, I'm a girl and I want to be really feminine. Why don't we give her breast implants at 5 years old?
I
You know,
don't think. I think that's yeah.
feminine.
I think that's that. Yeah.
Why don't we affirm her identity as a woman? Let's say she wants, I'm a girly girl. I love pink. I love Barbie. So let's give her a breast implant. She hopes one day to have big boobs like mommy.
And I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at Lee Priest saying the police took your gallbladder, but I think that's hilarious. But no, definitely no, because the thing is, when you're like 10 years old, even 13, whatever, your mind hasn't developed, and so to like take either testosterone blockers, estrogen, any of that stuff, I mean that's wrong on so many. And the other thing is competing. I mean, because I wrote an article for rxmuscle.com probably like 10 years ago, talking about transgender people in sports and this and that. And I was kind of like weighing everything. And, Dave let me write whatever I wanted. So again, kudos to Dave Palumbo. But the one thing that I couldn't get around, even a male to female transgender person, right? Mm-hmm. Their testosterone levels would be lower than a female's, right? And so that would seem like it would be fair. But where it's not fair is you can't change the muscle fibers. So if you're a guy, your muscle, you're still at a substantial advantage over a natural born woman. It's just not fair.
Christian, it's the bone structure. Listen to me. I know transgenders that would fake you out. I'll send you a couple of pictures of girls that I know. You'd be like,
the one I was hitting on at the Arnold, I was convinced was a woman, and with those big hands, I don't think so. But yeah, go ahead.
What I was going to say is, I can show you girls that are so unbelievably real looking, small. But guess what? If there was a fire and they found her skeleton, they'd say, this is a skeleton of a male, because there's a different hip structure.
Right.
There's a different structure.
Yeah.
Not everybody's built. Not everybody's got wide clavicles. There are boys who are skinny, have little narrow clavicles, narrow hips, but it's not the same. They can tell by the skeleton. When they dig up some ancient fucking Egyptian, they know, oh, that's a female, that's a male. They can tell by the skeleton. It has to do with the whole skeletal. The body moves differently. You know what
I mean? Imagine what would happen going the other way. A female to male competing like at college or pro football, they would kill him. Her. It would be almost like a crime.
Listen, they're female to male. I know. I'm friends with Buck Angel. Who you can Google who that is. Okay, he's a very famous. Dude, you see him, he's rugged. Him and I were in a club together. He has fucking 20-inch arms. It was once a woman. And he's got a fucking beard. He looks like a biker, loaded with tattoos. He looks like a bad motherfucker. But I'm just telling you, no matter how much he looks like a dude with 20-inch arms, bigger than a lot of guys watching this shit. Okay? But you know what? He still does not have in him the body structure. He would still, he could probably beat a lot of guys' asses. But I'm saying if he fought a guy that knows how to fight, it's the game over. That's why you can't find any trans man that has broken through, and now he's always playing pro football, or now he's playing pro baseball, because no matter what you do, it's not about the muscle and taking testosterone. There's much more to it.
Yeah.
There's much more to it. League of their own. I have no problem with them, but a league of their own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely. And Lee probably knows the name. I think I'm friends with her on Facebook, but I don't remember that. But there's a power lifter too, gigantic power lifter, male to female. If she was to compete with the females, that would be so unfair. So I just think
You're talking about Matt
Kruk,
Janae Kruk, Janae Kruk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Much love. But that would not be fair.
Guy, and look, to each his. If that's what he wants to do, who the fuck am I to fucking say he can't do that? Or she, whatever he wants. I think he has moments, but whatever. That God bless him, okay? And he's got a lot of balls to come out and do that shit. To be honest with you, so I give him props for that. But there's no way that any female is going to kick his ass or beat him in a power lift. It's just not. No. You could give her all this thing. You can give a genetic woman, pump her up with more steroids than God could ever make. And she could have bigger arms than him, bigger legs, bigger shoulders.
It's still not fair.
Beard down here. But you still won't be able to beat him because there's other factors involved. Right. Joints, hips, strength, the structure of the skeleton, the whole bit. But the way we got on this whole conversation is because they're taking the money away from cops in law enforcement, and they're putting it into diversity in school and in this gender shit. They'll fund that, but they're not going to fund some fucking, you being safe with cops, by your side. A lot of police departments, a lot of cities out there, and they're all Democrat run, that have lost a half their police department. It's been cut in half because of this shit like that.
And I'll tell you something. I'm all for law enforcement. Like in Portland, I mean, they some of these protesters, whatever they are, they torched the police department. I mean, the whole thing, it's gone. They burned it down to the ground. I don't want to live in a society like that.
Because
So
that mayor of Portland is a fucking far left nut, and he tells them stand down. The police chief, he of course, he doesn't want to lose his job, so he listens to the mayor. You know what I'm saying? And the cops there, believe me, you don't think those cops see these savages spitting on him and throwing water bottles at him and lighting their police cars on fire? You don't think they say, please, God, let me get at him. Please, 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 let me get the fuck. I want to beat the fuck out of them. You know what I mean? But they can't.
yeah.
They can't. You know what happens? They go to jail. Look at the NYPD cop who a girl spit on and pushed him, and he pushed her so hard back she hit the ground. Somebody took a videotape of it, and he lost his job for that.
And that's disgusting too. I mean, to get spat on is just like the most. I mean,
right in your face, like this, and you get girls. You know what I'm saying? There's no respect. And you know what's funny? Every one of them come from these rich, liberal families. You know what I'm saying? Again, I have liberal feelings in me. You know what I mean? When I was a young kid, my father we were in the backyard. My parents were very liberal, when they were in the 1950s, they used to, go to drag bars and shit, because that was the thing for entertainment, that was the thing, my parents. We were in the backyard, and my father, I was like 10 years old, and he was breaking geodes, the stones, you open them up and there's crystals and shit in there.
Oh, okay.
Right, so he was breaking them, right? And there was this kid at school who used to have the saying, whenever, if you in kickball, if you kicked a home run, his thing was he used to say the N word. End ball wins them all. In other words, in pool, when you shoot and you shoot the 8 ball, and that's how you win the game, right? And I remember saying to my father, he opened up the thing, and I said, the end ball wins them all, because he got, got this crystals, diamonds in there. My father turned around and grabbed me, picked me up off the ground, and said, don't you ever say that word again. If I ever hear you say that word again, I swear to God, I'll kill you. You understand me? And I didn't realize to what degree. It's just a word to me. Do you understand? I didn't assume it. I didn't put it to black people or anything like that. It wasn't a racist thing. I just knew that, I was repeating what a kid at school used to say. And he explained it to me. And he said, if I ever hear you say that word again, because my father and mother were very, very liberal like that. They were conservative. My father went to church every day.
Right. Well, yeah.
What's that?
No, I was agreeing with you, but I was just wanting to point out Dan's point that old liberals are not like modern progressives. I mean, if Kennedy was alive today, he wouldn't be a Democrat, I don't think. JFK.
Well, look at RFK Jr. I mean, the reason why the left doesn't like him is because he's really almost like a Republican. I don't understand. Jump ship. It's funny, not for nothing, but if way back a year or so ago, he would have said, I'm coming out and I'm going to be Republican, when Trump built himself back up. Remember, a year or 2 years ago, people still, I can't vote for Donald Trump, the whole January 6th. People bought into all that shit. That was his chance to shimmy in there. He would have probably got the fucking nomination. He has a lot of the same views as Trump. That's why him and Trump have been talking. So we'll see what happens with that.
And Dan, again, I agreed with everything Dan said except pulling the cops out of blue cities. Because blue cities need cops more than anybody. But yeah, Bill Clinton would have been a Republican too. Bill Clinton, I mean, in the 90s. Yeah. I mean, and that's great bipartisanship, because he worked with the Republican-controlled Congress, and they had a surplus. They had, we haven't had a surplus in I don't know how long. And Reagan too. I mean, I think that's the idea. I think that's the magic formula, is being able to work with both parties. Not nobody too far out there.
100%. I'm just plugging my phone.
Yeah.
100.
I think we might have lost Greg there for a second. I think when you plug your phone in, it doesn't. We can't hear you. So there you go.
Okay, I just took it out. You know what it is? I just saw that thing where the battery.
I think when you plug it in, it covers the microphone. But we'll probably end it real quick. So yeah. But I think that's the key, is being able to both work together, both parties.
Absolutely. But you guys out there, just stay informed. Don't say, I don't want to hear this stuff. I'm going to just talk about bodybuilding, because this is going to affect you.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to affect you. Listen, they want to do away with beef. You know what I mean? You might not even be able to eat beef in the future.
Right.
You know what I mean? If this
be a soy boy.
I mean, that's what they want. You know, I'm not eating bugs, bro. You know what I mean? If I wanted to eat bugs from my mother-in-law's house, she's loaded with the cockroaches. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, Greg. Well, thank you so much for doing
All right.
this. Hopefully, it won't be 6 years till we do it again. And I did want to say, Rob watches all your shit and just freaking bugs out laughing.
Oh,
Rob DiMaggio
oh,
from
I
Iron
love
Mag Labs.
Rob. Was good to me. Rob is very good to me. I understand everything. I love Rob.
Yeah, I mean, Rob, like everything that you do. Lee Priest, he adores Lee Priest. Uh, Bob Chick, maybe not so much, but the point is though, is that hopefully we can do something again like that again, or maybe you'll have a show at RX or at Muscle Sport Mag. I don't think that it'll take much to twist Rob's arm to sponsor it. He just thinks you're awesome, and I do too. And you just keep killing it, Greg. And you
Thank
don't age. You don't
thank
age. That's the thing. So
4 years
yeah.
old.
So
I'm old.
yeah.
But tell Rob I said hello and thank you. I appreciate everything he did for me. Everything's good. There's no, I'm not, everything's good.
Yep. So thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Greg. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I was so late. Just me. It's the Spanish in me, an hour and a half late. But thank you so very much.
All right. Thank you, Christian. All right.
All right, brother. Take care.
Love all you guys. Thank you.